be energetic.
Hey guys, it's been a while. This is Cadence Radio. This is Woomaloo. Uma for short. I'm here with Maveen.
Mav for short.
Mav for short. We're here. I haven't recorded for a while. It's been very eventful 2-3 months. I'm not going to get into it, but we're going to get into our topics today. I'm here with Mav, of course. He's from discoveryourlife.com.
Today.com.
Discoveryourlifetoday.com. Sorry, I always miss one word out of it, but check out his website, please. Very informative. His subjects are going from how to help finance houses, how to actually better yourself. That's the number one thing, is how to better yourself. And I think we need that sort of positive reinforcement through this world today. With that, this is Cadence Radio. We're doing a video part today, and that's first and foremost. So if you look at us and we're very energetic, we look energetic, a little bit old but wise. So,
Only you, man.
Yeah. Mav hasn't aged ever since I've known him. So, same mustache, same everything.
Same mustache.
But definitely, today we have a subject which is on a lot of people's minds with the events which have happened in the last, I'm not saying the last week, but these events have been happening all throughout the year and all throughout last year. All these mass shootings. That's that has taken a realm, and it's actually almost like an occurrence every month or every couple of months. There's something being blown up or somebody shooting something. Yeah. And it's delving a little bit on me to really speak on the matter. And the matter is with the violence spreading around the world, spreading around our country, Canada we're from, and also our neighbors, North America. Can we, do we have a legitimate reason to put in gun control within the society? And how is it going to affect us as a society? Is it going to put crime down? Is it going to basically have more peaceful resolutions to all this violence, basically? Me and Mav have toggled in a little bit. This all started with when the Vegas shooting did happen. We had a little conversation off WhatsApp, and we wanted to really explain our points in this video pod and delve a little bit deeper with it. And Hans do, Mav, what do you think about the gun control issue?
I think the
laws?
First thing, man, honestly, is you got to figure out if you are for or against gun control, right? I know we haven't really talked about that, if you are against or I'm for, or vice versa, but I think you have to really understand what it means if you are going to be for it, and what it means if you're going to be against gun control.
Yes.
There are pros and cons, I think, to both sides of having control and not having control. I think that's what we're going to get a little bit into deeply. But I think even before we get into what our opinions on gun control are, I think the biggest thing when we talk about gun control, it's about what's really happening to our neighbors in the South, in the U.S., more than what really happens here in Canada. Absolutely, things do happen in Canada. There is violence up here. There are guns up here. There are violence with guns in Canada. But the biggest thing that the world will always hear about is going to be the violence that happens in the United States, right? You're right. We just had this Vegas shooting. 22,000 people or something like that at an outdoor concert that had to go through this experience. Prior to this happening, in the Barack Obama era, there was the nightclub shooting as well, which was dubbed to be the worst shooting at that time. Now this one is the next worst one, or the newest worst one now.
San Bernardino.
Right, that was even worse than that one.
Countless.
So they just keep adding up, and more people are saying it's, guns are the problem. And I know we've had this talk a little bit. Is guns the problem, or people the problem, or is it a combination of the two together, right? So, I'm excited to talk about this because I think there's something that we can learn in the process of also helping teach other people that are watching this video at the same time.
There's... For me, I'm just going to delve into it. With the gun control issue, for it or against it, to tell the truth, for me, honestly, I would be leaning against it. The reason is, one of the points I put in is what Mav just specified. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Right?
People with guns kill people.
Yeah, but take the guns away, that gun mentality, the gun word away. People with knives kill people. People with cars kill people. Right? Yeah. People with baseball bats kill people. Yeah. Right? And that's what that's one thing. It's like if someone's intent, there are a lot of bad apples in the world right now. A lot of sick people. But if these people are intent on killing you, they're gonna find a way. So even if you ban guns, it doesn't matter. If someone's intent on doing it, they will find a way to do it.
That's
right. The craziest thing, which was one of the best arguments I've heard, which I don't know if it was the best argument for gun control I've heard, that with the statistics of Australia. I guess it was a mass shooting in Australia about a decade ago. And they did pass in a law to ban guns up there. And they did put in a gun control and they banned all guns. And they said that there was no gun violence ever. The gun violence dropped to numerous levels, like little levels, that it was non-existent. But they're telling you that's just about banning the gun aspect of it. But it's still, Australia still has a murder rate, right? So yeah. What else? Yeah, you take the guns away, but what else are people using to kill each other?
That's it.
Right? Yeah. And the thing about all these laws which are put in place, what else? To me, I think it's a bigger agenda than what we're sitting about gun control. I think it's a bigger agenda to just put in more laws and ban more things to us, right?
I think there's two different things. There's gun control and there's banning guns. I think they're two completely different things, and they should be looked at two completely different things. When you're banning something, you're taking it out of society. When you're controlling something, you're limiting who in society can have it. Right? So yeah. I think that's what we need to control. If they're talking about gun control, then the conversation should be about who are the people that can have these guns. Criminals, non-criminals, people with records, no records, mental issues, non-mental issues. I mean, these are all the things that need to be looked at. I'm sure these are the things that they are looking at when the people that are selling the guns at gun shows or in shops before they sell a gun to somebody, and what kind of bullets this person buying, what kind of guns they're buying. But I think the whole conversation comes from this Vegas shooting where this person has machine gun style AKs, for example, and is using these to afflict a lot of pain. And you look at it, why do people like myself and yourself need guns like this in a society where most people are said, especially in the United States, you have the right to carry a gun. It's not that you have a right to carry an AK-47. You have the right to carry a handgun, maybe a pistol or something that you can put in your pocket. There's no right that I understand of saying you have the right to carry an AK-47. And I understand, at least in the United States, it was written into their Constitution where they have the right to have a gun as one of their human and American rights. So I think that's something as well that would need to be looked at if you were going to start changing laws for or against control or banning.
But the thing about the Second Amendment for the USA and that Constitution, it says you have the right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. The arms could be anything.
Anything.
It's not a gun. It's not your right to bear guns. It's the right to bear arms in order to protect yourself. And that could mean anything.
Could be a knife, could be a baseball bat, like you said earlier.
Because to protect you from a foreign enemy. That's when the English were coming in, or what, the Britain, that Civil War and stuff. That's why they really wrote that Constitution, right? So, and with the gun control, those laws already have been in place before. They have banned automatic weapons. The only people who can have automatic weapons are Army people, Army veterans, right, or whoever is in the Army. And it still takes you about a year or so to get your license automatic. If you do have a license, and those are the only people who can carry automatic weapons.
Right.
All the people who are carrying in the States right now, what you can have is semi-automatic. It's basically you take a shot off, it takes 2 shots, like pop, pop, stop, pop, pop, stop. So you don't try to injure anyone. No one can ever carry an AK-47. And if they carried an AK-47 on the streets and stuff, they'll be likely arrested because those guns are banned. Right. And with the Vegas shooting, which everybody has pertained to, there's so many holes in that story, which we'll stick to the subject. But
we'll get into it. I think we'll get into it eventually.
So many holes in that story where this guy has that many weapons, and they're all automatic weapons. But did he fit the criteria of getting those? Because you can go to the range, you can shoot them, but in order to get them in Canada, it takes us to get it. You can't really carry a handgun either. If you do have a handgun, our laws are very strict in the fact that if you have a handgun in your house, it has to be locked up first and foremost. If you are taking it anywhere, you need to they ask you to call the police to say that this is what my friend has said. If you want to get a handgun, the reason why people don't get handguns is because every time you're carrying it, you have to call the police to say, I have my handgun, I'm registered, and all this. And that's the reason why lots of people in Canada do not carry handguns, because it's just a hassle for you to be carrying it. And why would you? Rifles and everything, hunting and all that, that's basically what we do. It's too damn cold anyways to walk around in Canada and do whatever. You're sitting at home.
Well,
but
one of the things as well you can look at for carrying guns in Canada, the other thing is as well, you're talking about laws and if you're going to have a gun, you got to keep the bullet separate from the gun. You also have to potentially do some training, and maybe with gun control there needs to be a little bit more training on and education on how to use these guns, not to teach somebody how to shoot a gun, but how to actually properly use the gun, clean the gun, and all these things. And I'm sure that these things are happening out there. But the problem is then the wrong people can still take the training.
You got it. Yeah, the wrong people can take the training, but there's so much you can put through that it gets so convoluted, right? Like, down in the state, most of the people who have guns are responsible.
Absolutely.
They're responsible gun owners. And check this out. There's 350 million people who live in the United States. In the news, there's always some incident of a gun went off or a kid had a gun.
Right.
But if you look at the broader spec, that is so minuscule. It's like a 1% chance that someone's gonna get killed with a gun.
Right.
In the States.
The question is then, though, who should that 1% be? Because that's, I think, part of that control comes in. Is it fair that 1%'s you, or is that fair that 1%'s me? For my life, I don't want to die because somebody carrying a gun that's misusing it. I'm sure you don't either, and nor does the person viewing this video and listening to this podcast. I think, the idea is to have a way that you can really control. Now, even if I was a normal, sane person, it still doesn't stop me from selling my guns to somebody who is not a normal, sane person. Because I can go in and buy those guns and sell them to anybody I want, make a profit, because the whole society is built on capitalism and being able to profit.
But that is illegal for you to buy to
buy and
buy
sell guns.
arms and then sell them to someone. You cannot do that.
So is there a body
cannot do
guard?
that.
Is there a body or a jurisdiction, whoever? Is there somebody who actually is keeping track of all
Yeah,
these
you
guns,
got
the
to-
buying and sale of all the guns, even once they've been purchased?
You got to register your gun. There's serial numbers on the guns.
You
and
have to
bullet
register
casings.
your gun.
You got to register it.
But-
so if you're gonna buy, if you're buying a gun, you have to go through all that paperwork to do that. Even the gun store owners have to they do that paperwork with you to do that. So when you take that gun, and you let's say you take that gun and you think that you can sell it on the street, you cannot do that unless you have that mentality of going into the gun freaking what is it, scratching out the serial number. It's just like a car. You're basically buying a car, so when you buy that gun and you try to sell it off and you sell it to somebody, the dude uses it, guess who's responsible for that? It's you.
Only if they can track that gun back to you.
They can track that gun. They have ballistics. They got all that stuff. All those bullets are registered. There's ballistics. They can do all that stuff.
Right.
So that's the reason why. Yeah, there's illegal gun sales. Yes, there's illegal gun sales. But with those illegal gun sales, though that if I'm leaning against it, that's one thing they need to curb is illegal gun sales, right?
So-
Is gun control gonna stop that? I don't know. I don't think it will. Because there's laws within laws within laws, and they keep piling that on. So what else is it? So it's gun control now. So what else is it going to go up to now? Okay, now we're going to ban all guns. So that's basically, I think that's what it's going to get to. All these laws are getting put in. They already stopped they already stopped sales of automatic weapons. Now you have to have a certain number. I don't know, a certain number registered. I don't know what. With that one. Now you have to do this, you have to do that. Basically, I think that they want to get rid of all the guns altogether, just like how Australia did it, just as how England did it.
So what you would be saying is that the goal then of the American government would be to change the Constitution and get rid of
wanna get rid
the
of
Second Amendment
to bear
to
arms.
get the ability to bear any sort of arms out of their Constitution.
And guess, yeah.
So my question
That's-
to you is, what party will actually have that go through? Will that be the Republican Party, who has the huge backing of the NRA, or the
Same
Democratic Party,
Same
who
with the Democratic Party. They have the huge back
Right.
in the NRA.
So
too.
then who would actually get rid of it? Because the guns make a lot of money
Exactly.
for them. Now we're just talking about guns. We're not talking about all sorts of weapons that can be used. We're really, I think, talking about gun control versus knife control. These are other
Yeah.
conversations we can definitely have. But somebody has to do that, and there's a huge amount of money. I remember I was watching some TV, and they were talking about as soon as the Vegas shooting happened, the sales for Smith and Wesson went up, and they rose, and they make a whole bunch of profit. So do you think these companies want to lose money by having gun sales be banned from the country?
It's a quagmire. It's one of the craziest quagmires. You just even said it right now. You're like, okay, the big Vegas shooting happened, and then the gun sales went up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have on the other side of the aisle, people are like, no, we need to have more gun control laws in there. Try to get rid of some of these guns which are coming, which are being sold. So it's like a huge quagmire. It's just like another force. It's like it's a negative and negative electron trying to hit each other. It's going to always bash heads. It's never going to stop. So there's going to be more gun control laws being created anymore. But more people are still going to run around. But you're right. The biggest thing about it is that law is the guns do have a lot of money, a lot of pull. The gun lobbyists, the NRA, have a lot of pull on both sides of the aisle, Democratic or Republic. They have a lot of pull on there.
Right.
And basically, either way, is gun control going to stop these people from stopping making guns or from selling guns?
No, because you can potentially, sell your guns if you can't sell the guns in the United States anymore, then maybe you can go to a different country and try to bring it in. Just like how they say drugs are smuggled into the United States, and they say for some reason have
business.
billions of tons of drugs coming into the country over the last decades, and no one's been able to stop this. So the same thing happens for guns. They just sell the guns through a different port and a different port of entry, right?
They're the biggest gun runners. The USA and is the biggest gun runners in the world.
For sure.
They're selling weapons to all countries. You think they want to stop that? They'd rather sell weapons to everybody else, but not their citizens. Isn't that's the most hypocritical thing I ever heard in my life? If they really want to put the gun control on, I was reading a little bit of Jim Fetzer. He's from YouTube. Check him out. Wicked analysis on the Vegas shooting. He's done lots of analysis on mass shootings with San Bernardino all the way through. He's been researching for 10, 15 years. So check him out, Jim Fetzer. Just YouTube him. And basically check out his videos. He has a good one from this Monday of all that Vegas junk on it. But he made one of the greatest quotes. He's just like, the reason why USA is never going to be invaded is there's so many guns here. There's so many guns, and and China said they'll never ever try to invade America, USA, because they're gonna deal with 350 million people, probably most of that population. I would say about 70% of that population do carry and own guns. So you're going in that population, you have people sneaking in and shooting everybody, right? And for me with this one is, if I want to delve to another point, which I'm going to get back to with the gun control aspect of it, is what happens when stuff does get banned. So what happens when guns get banned?
Just going back to the other point, why would you, if you're the American government, then why would you want to ban guns if a good portion of the citizens of your country hold guns? Why would you want to? If you took away all the guns, wouldn't that just go against what you just said, where countries like potentially China, like you said, or North Korea, or any other country, even Mexico as an example, could come up and invade, right? Could invade America because now no one has guns. The whole country has decided just to use clubs and batons to control its people. So why would you want to why would you get rid of the guns? So if you get rid of the guns, something bad, even worse, will happen, and that just brings up another point, saying, "Oh, now we need guns again."
Exactly.
And they just reinvent it, and bring back guns, and then they bring harsher ways of having guns for everybody, or maybe make it easier for people to have guns for everybody.
Tell that to Libya. Tell that to Iraq. What was the first thing? They have the right to bear arms too, and I know it's specific with guns and stuff, but the bear arms thing is anything. Also, those rights are constituted to a country too. They have the right to bear arms to defend themselves from domestic and foreign entities.
Yeah.
What happened to in Libya? What happened in Iraq? Was the first thing. I'm gonna go straight to Libya. Libya had a nuclear program. USA told them, stop with the nuclear program. We'll give you this. As soon as they stopped the nuclear program, what happened? What happened a decade later? They get invaded.
Of course.
Same with Iraq. Stop your nuclear program, stop with the network, give us all this stuff. What happened that? They get invaded too. So, is there a bigger agenda happening in the States? Is it with that gun control coming in and all of a sudden all these mass shootings are happening? Is it going to be because they want and someone wants to get invaded? Is that the next thing? I think they'll be stupid. They'll be stupid to invade the States because there's no way people are gonna say, here, take my gun.
Right. I think that the way I think people envision invasion has changed. I mean, if for a country, if you look at North America, there's only 3 countries: Canada, America, and Mexico.
Yeah.
Everything else from Mexico south is Central America to South America. And as of right now, from what I know and understand, there's not a lot of major issues on this side of the hemisphere,
Exactly.
southern or northern, like where we are in. So all of the possible people who could invade America are on the other side. So they're in Europe, Africa, Asia, wherever else, Antarctica and Australia, I guess.
China.
So that's the other two places. Well, continents, sorry. So that's the other continents that are there. So if these people are on these other continents and they're trying to come here to invade us, it does cost them a lot of money to come invade us. So what's the easiest way to invade them is cyber, not just through military. Because we all know the American military is strong. We know they have nuclear capabilities. We understand all these things. And although they will use their nuclear capabilities as a way to try to provoke something or provoke a war and an attack, they usually will not be the first people to use that type of tactic. Why? Because they need somebody else to do something to them before they can jump in. This was seen in World War II when Japan attacked them and then they attacked Japan. They couldn't do anything until somebody else did something to them.
But they ain't doing that no more, do they?
No, but, well, kind of, yes and no. So they make up stuff in the news and make up stuff in the story. So in order to attack something like Iraq, they had to be wars, there had to be things happening, they have to say the government's bad, these things are all happening, and then they can go in, right? They have to build their story. So even for me, I don't think anybody would actually attack America the way that we think, right? Now, the biggest one is North Korea. They keep talking about North Korea having weapons and this and that. And could they attack America? Sure, potentially not. They keep saying they have these ballistic missiles that can be launched across all of the Pacific Ocean and whatnot and hit America. But it's never been done. It's never been tested. And where are they getting all this information on another country's ballistic missiles? Where do they get this information from? They're just force feeding you a bunch of nonsense on the news to make you believe that North Korea can do it. A country that has been very tight-lipped about their own military actions. So,
and very poor too.
They're not very poor.
Or they're poor in the aspect of taking care of the people in there, but the military is getting up there. The reason why, I'll tell you this, the reason why they want to start, the powers that be, whoever that is, the powers that be, it's always order out of chaos. Since we were born, me and Mav, there's been a war every year, every time. We're the people war 100 years, it's been happening.
Yep.
We've been here for 40 years.
Yep.
And we've been in perpetual war. It's order out of chaos to me. The reason why North Korea, they're giving all this, they don't know about the ballistic missiles. The reason why they're up in arms, they don't want to be invaded. I'm sorry, the only people who will be doing the invasions are the United States. They've invaded 2 or 3 countries already. Then these people, the countries, they're looking up, they're like, okay, this is what we need to do in order for us not to be invaded. What happened? They've learned through that 15 or 20 years of that war, they've learned that you need a nuclear program so these guys cannot come into your country to bomb you.
Or take your resources.
Yeah. So as much as everyone's saying North Korea is mad and stuff, take a prospect on my end. And I know there's a lot of awakened people and a lot of people with reason. It's not about us against them anymore. It's about defending your own turf, man. If I was sitting over here in my house with my wife and all of a sudden I see my neighbor who got B&E beat the hell up, and then my next other neighbor, same thing happened to him. And the same thing happened to my other neighbor. What do you think I'm going to do now?
Yeah, you got to protect yourself.
I got to protect myself too. So as much as they call me crazy, of course I'm going to be a little bit loony because but the looniness is I'll be crazy as a fox because I'll be ready for you guys when you guys try to come and do what you're doing. right? And that's what we need to take in perspective.
But here's
And
the
the
funny
po-
thing. Here's the funny thing. So even the comments you just made, these are the comments that people say, that guy is loony, like you just said. That's what the people are going to say.
Exactly.
Because the way the words are coming out sound like you're a mad person. But in reality, what you're doing is you're frustrated. You're trying to figure out a way to protect your family. And the only way you know how to do that is by being vocal, about being passionate about the words that are coming out of your mouth. And through frustration, you will say things and yell or be loud about it or emphasize certain words.
Yeah.
But people take that the wrong way and say, oh, that guy's just nuts. You got to do something about him. The police start looking at you. They start keeping an eye on you and all these things. And all because of things that happened to your neighbor or that could have happened to you. Right, and it's interesting. So you're right. So when countries like North Korea start looking at it and say, look, the only person that's actually friends with us is China, and China benefits a lot from having North Korea as a trade partner. People can look. You can look into it. There's lots of companies, even though they said reported on the news that China is closing down a lot of businesses that they have in North Korea, or vice versa.
I think that's just propaganda. To
Absolutely,
tell you the truth
absolutely.
There too. Because
why would they?
Why would they even do that? Why would they want to get North Korea invaded? If North Korea gets invaded, there's about 3.5-4 million refugees running into China.
Yeah.
There is no way that's going to happen. Not on their watch. And there's China, and there's Russia, there's North Korea, and there's a South Korea.
Yeah.
Is there? If you look at it, is there a bigger agenda of what's really happening with that? If someone's pushing that ultimatum, let's get these guys to do nuclear weapons, let's get these guys. Is there a bigger agenda of what's happening? What happens next? The people, the powers that be, I'll call them the criminals that be, they already took out the Libya people. They already took out the Iraq people. They already took out the Syria people. Now going to take North Korea people out. Are they ever going to stop? No. It's been said. This has happened in the last 50. They haven't taken Syria out though. Hands down, props to Assad. He fought for his people, and he knew what the deal was. And as much as whatever is a democratically elected president or prime minister, and the people voted for him, there's no way some other outside entities telling me that I have to go when the people want me in-house. And it's just the same thing about it is, imagine if the shoe was fit on the same thing and they're talking about Trump has to go. Are they going to get China to come in to take him out too? And this is what I'm saying though. He's a democratically elected president too. Same with Assad. So what's kind of contradictory, hypocritical thinking is that when you're trying to take somebody out who's democratically elected by his own people, saying that he's doing this, and you have no proof, nothing like that, and you're trying to start something. Isn't that a little bit condescending to me?
Well, you're just trying to change the dynamic in that country and cause a riot and cause an upheaval in the country, right? And just kind of going back to China for a second, even, the reason China could care less what the Americans have to say is, one is because the U.S. needs China so they can buy all their goods from China. If they don't want to do trading with China, hey, no problem. They can go the Donald Trump way, make America great again, and then start making everything in the United States. But the same goods and services that people are used to paying $1 for are going to triple or quadruple or go 10 times. And you tell me one person who wants to pay $10 for a box of Kleenex.
I think it's...
You know what I mean? No one wants to pay $10 for a box of Kleenex because no one's wages are going to go up.
Canada's the same exact thing too.
No different. Absolutely.
What happened to us, and it's it still kills me till Sears has been liquidated. Sears was Canadian? Sears Canada?
Sears Canada, might
yeah,
be.
Sears Canada. 12,000 jobs are going to be lost in a month.
Yeah.
In a month. And we had 10,000 jobs created in October. So now in November or whatever, when they get liquidated, 12,000 jobs are lost.
Yeah.
So we're basically negative for the year. Retail aspect and everything.
Well, you look at the other flip side. Amazon's looking to potentially come to Canada, so that might bring another 40,000 jobs.
But are they going to come? And that's the thing. Are they going to come? You
They
know?
want a lot of different things right
they
now.
might go to whoever's willing to
It's
to
whoever's.
pay less. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As much as Amazon is, you don't want something getting that big. Amazon should not be getting that big. As much as it's a capitalistic world,
Tell that to
this
the
is
guy
not
that runs
this,
Alibaba.
Yeah, this is not a capitalistic world anymore. It's almost like an oligarchy to me. Capitalism was based on competition. It's based on getting moms and pop stores, getting how many customers you can get, how many you keep it going. But if corporations coming in and eating up all that, is that really capitalism now too? If all the corporations coming up eating up everything, because I've heard that Amazon might even be teaming up with the Walmart. They already took out the Walgreens, which is one of the biggest food chains in USA. Now Amazon owns that.
Well, Amazon also just recently bought. I know we've moved away from gun control a little bit, but Amazon recently also bought natural food stores as well.
Same thing.
So to me, it starts getting into a bigger problem. Are they now starting to look at controlling the food supply?
You got it.
and whatnot as
What's
well.
a bigger agenda? And this basically goes down to
Yeah.
gun control. Is there a bigger agenda in there? Are they trying to control the masses by taking stuff away from them, taking the freedom? First and foremost, we're gonna try to control the situation. But honestly, can you really have gun control laws? Can you really have those laws? You probably not.
I think you could have the laws, but you have to
But
have a body
how
that
many
actually
people are gonna
will
try
do
exactly?
something about it.
It just comes down to one thing. It's abandonment of all weapons. That's what it comes down to. The more laws which are going to be put into place as you see it, because there was a lot of gun control lots of gun control laws put in with the Obama one. You cannot get suppressors or whatever. You cannot get automatic weapons. Those are taken off the board. You cannot get these certain type of guns or these certain type of clips, right? That you can't get extended clips anymore. Right? They were taken away. They weren't controlled. They were just taken away. Now you need to get this type of clip. Now you need to get this one. And all of a sudden these mass shootings are still happening. So what else is next now?
Well,
Now
you
you
get
can't
rid of
have-
a clip, people just buy more guns and more clips.
And the thing about it is that if it was a sleeping society, if people were asleep and they're looking at all these shootings happening, this year, last year, even move into the future, do you really want to get rid of the guns now? People are going to try to protect themselves now. People are going to be more on edge now than they were before. Because honestly, this is what? The cops have the guns. Okay, the cops have the guns. But check this out. The cops have the guns. So my place is getting robbed, let's say.
Okay.
My place getting robbed. I'll have to call 911.
Yeah.
The response time for 911 is about 10 to 15 minutes.
Sure.
So you're getting robbed. 10, 15 minutes. Someone's in your house. Violating your space.
Yeah.
Violating the people
In your home.
in your home.
Yeah.
I have to wait for the 10 to 15 minutes for someone with the protection or whatever they have to take that person out or try to arrest him or do whatever. I have to wait that 10, 15 minutes. A lot of stuff can happen in 10, 15 minutes. So for me to protect myself, I need something too.
Right. I don't think the conversation is should you have a gun or should you not have a gun, because hold on, let me.
But it is going to get to that.
It's going to get to there, but let me just go through this thought for a second. So this guy that went to the Mandalay Bay, had a whole bunch of guns with him. He had the right to bear arms. He absolutely had the right. He supposedly
Not those ones.
We'll get into it.
Not those guns.
We'll get into it. But he had the right to bear arms, and he had the right to have as much as he wants, and he has the right to move them within the United States as freely as he wishes. So far, he has all those rights. He goes there, Mandalay Bay, shoots out a whole bunch of people, 20,000 people. Now, that's just one guy shooting at 22,000 people. Now let me ask you a question. Out of those 22,000 people who got shot at, what percentage, based on the number you said earlier, do you think have guns themselves?
what that percentage is, I'll probably, like I said, 70%.
You said 70%. So that's to me saying that over 14,000 people at that concert had the right to bear
got
arms
it.
if they chose to bring it with them.
Exactly. That's
They
what I'm saying.
Potentially chose not to. Maybe they left it at the hotel. Maybe it's in their car.
You got it.
Whatever it is. Some of them actually may have actually had it on their body because they have the license to carry.
Yeah.
But does that make society safer? Does it
Well-
make the laws more clear? You know, you have one lone gunman who's shooting
Yeah.
people, and I put in
Yeah,
quotes because
lone
there's a
gunman.
lot of different
Yeah.
things that I know we want to get into about this. But there's this one guy supposedly that's doing all these things and harming a whole bunch of other people. But, you know, not once did I ever hear anybody talk about how gun control, what about the 14,000 people that potentially could have had guns at that concert?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what about that? Now they put up a metal detector at the gate so you can't bring your gun into the concert venue.
Mm.
So that actually still goes against your right in the United States to bear arms.
Mm.
Because now they say, hold on, if we're going to have this many people at our venue,
They
we
got
don't
the
want guns.
security, they got all
Right.
that stuff.
But if you
right?
have the right to bear arms, that's your amendment law,
Mm-hmm.
and you're allowed to bear arms. So why is it that other venues are allowed to take that right away from you?
Well, that's
For
well,
public
with that
protection.
one, with the public protection though, right? But check this out: with that shooting and everything, if honestly, if this guy was, if the, well, I don't think that was the shooter, but whatever. But yeah, if that guy was on the floor, and check this out, there's a lot of videos where they show psychotic people shooting people, lots of videos in there. But there's also a lot of videos where there's also people who have a right to carry, and they have protected themselves from these nutcases who are not supposed to have guns.
But never
Right?
at a public venue like this. I don't
In
think
a public place.
nothing's ever happened like this at a public place.
Yeah.
So that bears the question to me is if I'm an American citizen and I'm allowed to bear arms, then I should, if I'm allowed for protection and because
Mm-hmm.
I feel insecure, then that law should allow me to bring guns anywhere I want to feel
Like
safe.
I said, most of them probably did. Like I said, most of them probably did.
I don't
but
think
that's
14,000 people had guns.
that's a private venue, and that private venue was secured for that
private
reason,
function, yeah.
right? You have the metal detectors. You can't bring this in. Okay, you got the metal detectors. But for me, as a citizen, if I can't carry it, I gotta damn well make sure that you have the security for me to be safe there too.
Right.
First and foremost, right? And for me, for that to happen, that's on them, right? Now this is gonna get a little bit more convoluted when you tell me that your venue's safe, but still 50 people get shot up in it. You have the
Well,
right security.
No, that's wrong.
You have
Almost
the right security.
almost 600 people got
50
shot
died.
at it.
50 people
50
died.
plus, I think almost 60 died.
Yeah, 59, 60
Yeah.
people died.
Yeah.
Right? But for me to be secure is you showed me that this should have been secure. With the metal detectors, first and foremost. With the security outside, first and foremost.
So then
I'm not saying that though. Yeah, those people probably, but this is it. It's like if you go in, you gotta leave. Most of these people probably had guns in the car, in the trucks, because they
In
can't
their
bring it
hotel
in
rooms,
there.
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. But it's now with that one. Are you that security comes into play?
Hmm?
You guaranteed me I'll be secure in your place.
And then what
By
happens?
giving me all that.
And what
And
happens
this is
if
what happens.
someone cannot
now,
guarantee your security?
Exactly. So now what you telling me? Now you're trying to take my gun away for because now I come into this mindset saying that last time I went to a freaking concert I got shot up. I'm gonna have a gun with me. I don't care what you say.
More people are going to bring or want to carry guns to certain venues. Absolutely.
So now,
Even though that type of music may not encourage it, because country music necessarily does not encourage gun violence in any of its music.
people have
But
gotten
people
shot
still-
up in a Ariana Grande goddamn concert, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's some people with sick minds. They're just gonna be that way.
Right.
You know, it's just that. But for you, as a citizen of any country, as a human of the world, you have a right to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Either that be knife, either that be gun, either that be a baseball bat.
Right.
I got a right to protect myself.
Right.
But what I'm saying with the slippery slope about the gun control is, what with these laws coming, what is really gun control though? What is gun control? We got to try to read between those lines.
Exactly.
Gun control.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, that between the lines of gun control, it's like you're trying to control something. So if you're trying to control something, you try to give or take first and foremost. I'll give this, take that, give this. But eventually, if you want to really control something, you got to eliminate something.
Right. Well, I like the word where you said gun control, because it's not just about gun control. It's about people control, mind control, and population control.
Yeah.
It's controlling income of people. It's just a whole vast things I know we've talked about on other episodes of the radio show as well, and other things that we will continue to talk about into the future. But that's one of the things that we need to talk about too, is this mind control, and that's not just being done through this conversation that we're having right now, because the idea is to get people to talk, which is good, but there's no solid answer, and there never really will be, because if let's go back to thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago to when we were supposedly cavemen walking around, but we had to protect ourselves back then as well. We made weapons.
It's in human
we carried
nature.
Clubs. Exactly. Either protecting ourselves from natural predators such as animals, or the predators that were within your own community that were potentially trying to kill you because of hierarchy or whatever. We have to protect ourselves. You're right, is a nature. I think that's what one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs includes: safety and protection for oneself.
I can't count on Maveen to come protect me.
You can try, but if I can't get there in 10 minutes or 15 or half an hour,
and what are you going to do? And that's the thing about it. What else control? You're going to try to take it, to me, with that control, it's taking away something. It's going to leave you docile. It's going to leave you as like a pet, a dog. Mm-hmm. Oh, where's my food coming in? Oh, that food hasn't arrived yet. I have to wait on you to feed me. Yep. I have to wait on you to walk me. Right? It's just the weirdest thing. It's control. It's always those words just ring into that mind.
Yep.
The control, that programming. And that agenda, what I'm talking about, the mass shootings you've seen from last year to this year, all that thing, are they programming you for something else? Because there's more laws which are coming in.
Oh yeah.
The Vegas shooting, which is the biggest one, and this is what I want to delve into. Las Vegas is one of the most securest places in the world. Every hotel has a camera on every floor, in every lobby, and some of these new hotel they have backscatter technology.
Okay.
What the backscatter technology, like the Aria has it, I think the MGM Grand has just put that in, is it can actually zoom into people's bags and see what you're carrying. It's just like the airport stuff.
Right. So that means they can actually take a look at what you have on your body.
Exactly.
Well.
Yeah. And in Vegas you can't get away with it. Even remember when you went to that casino, even in Calgary you went to that casino one time, and this guy handed you over $5,000.
Oh.
Remember that time? And then you went home. How fast was that?
Yeah.
An hour?
Less than an hour, 2 hours.
They're calling you.
Back.
They're like, hey, we have you. We got you. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So now you're telling me that this dude can take 50 guns into his hotel room, set everything up, and shoot a whole lot of people.
Right.
Because in Vegas, it's even, if you think, we're in Little Calgary, and that was an hour. They caught up. There's a lot of money being exchanged in that place, and there's going to be the high security in. There's high security.
Absolutely.
So that you cannot get away with. Whatever you can get away with is going to be minuscule.
Yeah. Well, they make Vegas in such a way that you know, you're right. The money is the biggest thing that runs through there, right? There's billions and billions and billions of dollars being
NSA,
funded in Vegas for what other programs. Absolutely.
Whatever your computers, whether your Wi-Fi, they know what you're doing on Wi-Fi. They know everything on that stuff. They know all that stuff. So now you're telling me that this dude can get into a freight elevator. He can ship these things out. Now they're saying that the timeline's off. They changed the timeline to the whole thing. Now they said that there was a security guard who got shot up on the 32nd floor. And this was never portrayed to us as a public, telling us this is what happened. The story just changed overnight.
They said that he had got shot and he had foiled the plot of him continually to shoot people. Versus he actually, now they said he actually shot the security guard 6 minutes prior to starting to go and shooting everybody else.
It just, the whole thing changed. So I'm going to tell you as a society right now, we as a society right now, something right now smells rank and fishy on that one. It smells bad. You know, this was it's botched, whoever it is, you know, and my heart does go out to the people who died in there, because people did die in this mass shooting, and they need answers, and those answers need answers quick, because these people who have passed away, they are going to be turning in their graves, and you're not going to give them justice with this petty thing. Petty stories and petty investigations you guys are putting on for us, with the authorities putting on. But either way, and I'll tell you this right now, and I told you about the 9/11. If you delve more into investigating, please check out. It was even said, Michael Moore's first thing. Michael Moore's the World Trade Center. What did he say when he first interviewed? A Wall Street, I forget what this guy's name is, but check the movie out. Is the first 5 minutes. This guy said, all this was about money.
Of course.
Straight up. Follow the money, you know who's in cahoots with it. There's lots of insurance taken out on the World Trade Centers before it went down. Someone made about $4 to $5 billion because of that. Right? And it is documented. What happened in the Vegas shooting? Before the big casino mogul, his name is Adelson, Mr. Adelson. He owns the Mandalay Bay and MGM Grand. Before the shooting went on, he actually dropped stocks in those hotels. He dropped stocks, and it is put it in. If you YouTube SGT report, and there's a financial advisor, her name is Lynette Zhang. She's actually, this is a specialty, she follows who benefits off these tragedies.
Follows the money trail.
Yes.
Okay.
And she followed that. A transaction was put in before this tragedy happened, and when it did happen, the people who were part of it, Mr. Adelson was one of them. He made over $190 million after this tragedy happened. Because it's just basically, there's a little thing you can drop stocks. If a tragedy happens, stock's going to be bought. So you're betting. You have an inside track on betting. You're basically gambling that the stock is going to fail, and you put your money into it, and then you win a bunch of money.
So other than the shooting happening right before he drops his stock, would there be any other reason he could have dropped the stock that may be known to people?
No, now there's something coming in. There was a little bit. This was, and I want you guys to check out 4chan. Just Google 4chan. There was this guy. It's just a bunch of people who blog about articles. It's a news website. But there was this anonymous guy. His name is John. He has, everybody says that he might be an insider for the FBI, one of the good, quote unquote good guys, but like I said, there's two factions. They're fighting for power. That's what I think, and they're built within FBI and they're built within CIA. They're built within all these alphabet companies or alphabet organizations, government, let's say. And check out Kevin Shipp, best documentary of all time. I would recommend it to you. I recommend it to you, Mav. This guy was part of the CIA for over 25 years, and he put it down straight up an hour, and he goes through everything, and it's just all about the money.
Of course.
But now,
I mean, we've talked about that on previous episodes as well.
Follow that money.
Follow the money.
Now, with that
we've talked
shooting
about
and the gun
bankings,
control
everything.
agenda, this is when it comes in. When that shooting happened, if you see all the big guys, all the big dudes, like the celebrities, oh, we need gun control. The first thing, even if the buzz is, who was the first person to tweet about it? Miss Hillary Clinton. She's like, oh, we need gun control. This is what happens. Whatever the tweet is. Just look at the tweet. I'm sorry.
I think we need corruption control, not gun control.
But that agenda, when I go back to this John, this is what he said. As of September 11th, he said, when on Everest, he's like, a major event is going to be happening in Las Vegas. Please stay away. You know, it might not be this month, but it is coming. So stay away from large crowds. Stay away from what it is. And this is it's like these guys are gunning for Las Vegas. It's going to happen in Las Vegas. The reason why it's going to happen in Las Vegas is there's two companies. There's security firms. IPO, I think it's called. And basically there was these guys. They basically are building metal detectors, building security surveillance. So in order for them to do that agenda,
put that same security system
exactly,
in every hotel.
Now they want to move it into Vegas hotel.
Right.
And then after the fact, if it moves to Vegas, the most highly secured place in the United States
become even more
secure. And now after the Vegas, if that law passes that they can get these metal detectors and everything in all the hotels, now they're going to be moving into all the schools,
right,
moving into all the government buildings.
So they're saying their agenda is to go more into like a security state.
Yeah.
So everything is a control state. Everything's security.
Know exactly what you're doing.
Everybody knows what you're doing.
When you know where you're going to piss.
Well, basically. But it's true though that they would, because they have the ability to maybe detect certain things.
Because now this gun control agenda is not working. It's not going fast enough for them.
So
all it is was just to take away freedoms. That's basically what control is. Well, they want to control the masses.
I think you bring up a good point, and one of the things I will maybe just take this on a slightly different path. It still talks about control and whatnot, but very recently did Nevada, or the state of Nevada, pass their marijuana laws as well. So if you look at marijuana, it is a drug that can help you control yourself, help you understand yourself.
Pharmaceuticals ain't loving them right now.
Well, we'll talk about that. So one of the things as well is it's another one that also paranoids people. It's a drug that can cause a lot of harm to people too if it's not taken the correct way.
Just like anything in moderation. Just like anything.
Right? So my point of the control part is what I want to talk about is the mind control, because I know the article that you asked me to read by David Wilcock. You know the title of it.
Guy is amazing, man. Disclosure. Oh, I'll take it on my phone.
So it's pretty much David Wilcock talking about a couple different things. And one of the things he talks about is potential mind control as well. So I start thinking about, when I was reading this article, is that there can be mind control through drugs, which we all know. So one of the things that, if you're looking at a state like Nevada, who's legalized marijuana, and we all know you can buy thousands of different strains of marijuana that can control any mood you want to be in, any mood you'd like to be in, and any mood that you'd like to get away from. So, I start thinking about, well, if that is possible to do with people, then why not give those same drugs to people who are supposedly mad or mentally not capable of making sound decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
Give these drugs to these people. They go out and do something, and then they hurt other people.
For a second here, guys.
Just pause and edit it.
If I stop it, then we have to just no, keep it running.
Okay,
Go.
I'll just edit it.
Go.
I'll just edit it.
Keep going.
So what I'm trying to say is, if the mind control is there and people are using these drugs, so who's to say that this killer, did not have access to these type of drugs to then go ahead and have his mind erased or changed in a way that he'll start acting in certain ways, because they say that I'm not saying that he's good or bad. I'm not really trying to make a case for any of that. All I'm trying to say is that there is a way for the government to potentially control your mind, and they've already done these changes in Colorado. And they have these cards available to people in multiple states where they can buy marijuana from anybody. So I'm not trying to make a case for him and why he's guilty or not guilty. All I'm trying to say is that there's a potential that this guy who did kill himself plus 58 other people and hurt a bunch of other people, well over 500 other people that have been injured, he could have been mind controlled with drugs or some sort of way to go and do these things, because they say his profile doesn't fit that of somebody who is going to likely do something. So the profile doesn't fit. Something happened a year ago, they don't know, or they're not disclosing what happened a year ago. Mm-hmm. So in order for them to tell us, it has to make sense within their story and whatever story that they're trying to say. I'm not, again, trying to stand up for this guy. What he did knowingly or unknowingly is wrong completely. So please don't send me stuff that's trying to hurt me or kill me.
Or even if he did. But to expand on that article too, the guy was a government worker too, and he worked.
This killer guy used to work for the government.
The Lockheed and Martin, one of the biggest contractors in the universe, and he worked for those guys. Lockheed and Martin, if no one knows about that, it's a big military industrial complex company. They do all the way from planes to anything, to weapons to whatever. And he's a government contractor. So it was kind of funny to me when they said that he's a multimillionaire. Because when you work for Lockheed and Martin, when you retire, your pension is good, but you're privy to a lot of information too.
Absolutely.
A lot of information which you cannot delve to
the general public. Yeah.
The general public.
Absolutely.
And also, a good point of the article, what David Wilcox said, was this guy went on 20 cruises, all the way in the Middle East, all over the world, just cruises. So this is all speculative, of course. Was he still working for the government? Because to tell you the truth, when you work for that type of company, you are never really retired.
No, for sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
So he might have had some aside going on. He might be running weapons. He might be doing that. To me, this is just speculative. Don't say that as for fact. He might have been a gun runner. He might have been a gun runner.
And that movie, War Dogs movie,
exactly.
Right? It's no different than that movie.
You don't suspect your next door neighbor doing all that, right?
Nope.
War Dogs. Nicolas Cage was the good one too, right? Lord of War, right? He was a gun runner too. But those are just examples. But maybe this guy, they approached him because he's sitting over there. He's a regular in Vegas. He has so much money. He doesn't fit the profile or anything like that. He does not fit the profile
what's
all.
The profile? I love to know that. What is the profile of a murderer? It's so interesting because they say that it doesn't fit the profile. Sure,
yes,
there are certain things that each person will have in common. Sure, I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. But what stops me or you right now from picking up that pen and literally stabbing me while we're recording this? Nothing stops either one of us other than your conscience.
But and also you need to be triggered.
You need to be triggered.
Something triggers you. But with his actions, with
So
the
mind
actions,
control could trigger you.
yeah, exactly. But with the actions for him, because he checked in, they say it's September 27th, but it was actually September 25th. He checked in, and with all that,
So why would they report 2 days wrong?
there you go, and that's the thing which everybody's getting. There was another something was leaked online by the hotel, some staff in the hotel. You can actually look at this, go online. There's actually a room service receipt where there's 2 receipts for 2 people in that room.
Okay.
And it shows, but the law enforcement, they ain't investigating that. They're just investigating this guy. But
Well,
here's
isn't it
exactly.
easier just to blame
it's
one
easy,
person?
just open and shut
open and
case.
shut close. Yeah.
JFK, it's been happening since 1963. Open and shut case. People are still trying to investigate JFK till this day.
Tupac and Biggie, man. Open and shut
till
case.
this day.
Open and shut case.
You know, it's the lone gunman, and lone gunmen don't tell no tales because they die the next day.
Well, they
or
die,
they die right then and there,
right
or
there.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's my speculation: with all those trips he did, with going to the Philippines, going all that, I think he was running guns.
Yeah, probably.
The amount of guns he had in his hotel room, it kind of
or that they've supposedly also found in all his other homes as
I
well,
just think
right?
that maybe this guy, because this guy, since he's worked for government, they told him that we need you to do this.
Yeah.
You know, just for us, just for a favor, and that's about it. All said and done. He did it. He got caught up, not suspecting a thing at all for this guy. You know, he loves Vegas. He's been in Vegas. He does all this. He's a fun guy. You know, he helped out his family, helped his brother become a millionaire with all the real estate dealings he
But
has.
isn't
He has so many.
Hold on, wouldn't that still fit the profile of a murder? Because usually you are going to help set up. A smart person will help set up their family, wire $100,000 to the Philippines, and say, "Look, I'm going to take care of everybody that's in around me before I go do something fucking crazy." Most people don't do that.
But the guy was a regular. The guy
But a regular also means
was a regular
that you can,
in the casinos.
But a regular also means you have the ability to study your next place of attack. Because one of the things they have always been talking about is where are these guns and gun control. But how come no one's ever talked about all this supposed explosives that are in his car that could have been detonated?
Where did that come from?
But that's the thing. How come no one talks about where this came from, where it was bought, and how come there's no control on that stuff? It's only about gun control, not about explosives control.
If you look, I looked at James Gilliland too. He actually has video. They're saying that stuff happened in Mandalay Bay, but he has video of shots being rang out in New York hotel. Shots being rang out in the Bellagio, and shots being rang out at I don't know what other hotel, Aria Hotel. Okay. There's actually video surveillance. He has it recorded where people are running with gunshots in the area, and people are running away in the area, running away from it, and people have that recorded. And what's they say, there's a bigger story to this than just the Mandalay Bay shooting.
So why wouldn't all the masses of people who are in Vegas, there's millions of people in Vegas.
They do.
So why aren't these millions of people in Vegas coming together strong and saying, this is our story?
They are trying to, but they're being suppressed by the officials. What happened in Las Vegas? Even the cops are saying there were multiple shooters. All of a sudden, after 2 or 3 days, this is what happened. Vegas had a story. The Vegas police had the story saying, this is what happened. This is what we saw. The story was keeping on changing every hour. There was YouTube videos of cops, because now they have to carry their microphones and everything like that, saying there's multiple shooters. I see a shooter over here. There's a shooter on the grounds. Someone called in a code 7 or whatever it was. That's multiple shooters. Right? Then the FBI...
Is it the fact that they've seen multiple shooters, or is it just a belief
they have that there has
to be multiple shooters just based on all the chaos?
There was an interview with these 2 witnesses who were in the grounds on CNN, and it's hard to get that now because they're trying to... media powers that be are trying to suppress that. This lady's getting interviewed, and she's like, we were in the grounds. We heard the shots coming from up. We got herded into it. We couldn't go anywhere. There was no exit. There was only one exit to go into it. The thing was closed off. There were 10-foot fences. We looked back and we seen somebody coming into the grounds shooting people. And she's like, there's no way a guy on the 32nd floor is shooting down at us, take that many people. I saw the person, people being shot with someone coming at us with a gun. And then the lady's like, and then the interviewer is like, the reporter's like, yo, you mean on the 32nd floor? She's like, no, there was someone on the ground shooting at us. Then all of a sudden, poof, they cut that off. And now you can't see it anymore. So there's a bigger story. And when the FBI came in, they changed that whole section of the timeline on when he shot and when all that happened. And this is what happened. The FBI, of course, the criminals within the criminals, all right? The faction within the factions. The head guy who's heading up the FBI investigation now. This is what he's telling all the Vegas people. And if you go on YouTube, his words, he had the press conference on, and he's just like, if you know anything, don't trust anybody. Just call 1-800, talk to the FBI.
Right.
So they're trying to suppress the narrative of what, if you know something, come to us first. Now, you think, honestly, with you guys switching the story so many times, you think now people are going to be like, maybe I should go tell them this is what happened after y'all switch the story on people. So, I don't think that's gonna happen. So now, what's happening now, there's a whole bunch of independent reporters going down to Vegas interviewing people down there now. And now they're trying to make the story.
Most of the people who are already at the event have already left?
Yeah, mostly tourists, but there are Las Vegas police officers who are interviewing undercover and telling these independent reporters of what really happened, what they really saw. And the story that the FBI is saying is not jiving with what we seen on the ground. But there's a lot of people who are getting caught up, who are getting caught with the FBI because they're looking at all them surveillance cameras.
Absolutely.
And this is why they're picking people up. Go see this person. Go see this person. Go see this person. They're telling story. They're like, no, this is what you have seen. So they're trying to control the narrative real quick because somebody botched this. This is a bad botch.
So let me take the other side position for a second. Let's say there was no botch. There's no conspiracy. There is no mind control. There's no gun control problems. It's just some crazy guy, which obviously something snapped in him. Something bad happened. All these things happen. Let's say he actually did this and he planned it out, not letting his girlfriend know, and he's just kind of lived this double lifestyle, which a lot of people do live in the United States and all over the world that have this double life kind of that they live, right? So let's go with let's say he actually did it by himself. So is there not enough proof to show that he could have done it himself?
There is not enough proof.
Why is that?
There is not enough proof. The guy was a retired 64-year-old dude. Okay. Lived in a $500,000 house.
Yeah. And then just put that in perspective. In the United States, a $500,000 home is a very nice. In Calgary, as an example, if we were going to take our economy compared to what the homes look like over there, a $500,000 home in Las Vegas is probably a $1 to $2 million home in Calgary, just to kind of give some perspective.
And the guy goes to Vegas. He's a video poker savant or gambler.
Right, sure.
Video poker gambler. He gambles $20,000 to $30,000 a week or whatever it is. No problem. His money to spend. The guy, before anything happened, he calls his mom saying, "How's mom doing? She's sick and stuff. Here, I'm gonna mail her out a walker." His wife. His girlfriend from Philippines, when they interviewed her, she's like, he's the most gentlest.
Well, here's the other problem.
I would not imagine him doing anything like that. But hear me out here.
Let me just give something on that one. So have you actually seen an interview of her saying that? Because the one I saw was her lawyer making the statement, and she actually, I don't think, has actually done an actual interview because they have also suppressed her from talking to the media.
Yeah, because they want
so
to
they
get
can control
they
things.
want
So-
to get her story straight, saying that
Yeah.
this is what it is. But when the first and foremost, when they had to let her go, when she came to the States and they were tracking her down, they had nothing on this lady, and
Well,
she's
they
like,
wouldn't,
this,
right? She's not
she's
there.
like, what are you guys talking about? I don't believe this is going to happen to my with
my boyfriend.
with
yeah.
my boyfriend.
Yeah.
His brother even said the same exact thing. His brother's like, this is insane. The dude didn't like guns and stuff. But like I said, with the double life and stuff, it's like, there's no way. The guy called my mom to see how she was doing.
But murderers,
And
if
then
you ever-
till that
oh,
day,
if-
all of a sudden you snap. After there's no the only history with there's a history with murderers. There's
Sure.
a history with them.
Sure.
Right? And but like Mr. Me, whatever it is, but this guy just had a unpaid traffic ticket, man.
Which isn't nothing
It just
crazy, yeah. Which is nothing.
with the FBI saying what they're saying, with their whatever formula, whatever they do to profile people, this guy did not fit the profile.
Right.
So I'm going with what that FBI formulas, all the reporters are saying. That profile picking, this guy does not fit it.
So then let me ask you, so why, if the FBI is literally saying this guy doesn't fit the profile of what a murderer or a mass murderer should be, why is it then that they've decided to just stop searching everywhere else and only focus on something that doesn't fit the profile? So what does that make any sense?
And that's the thing what we need to find out of it.
Right.
Us
So-
as people need to find out, because those guys the authorities, they have it down straight. And this is the biggest thing I'm gonna say. I'm glad I'm living in the 21st century right now. I'm glad I'm living in the internet social media era, because the reason is, imagine this happened in, let's say, 1963.
What happened in 1963, Umulu?
You know, JFK.
Okay.
You know, what was that story? And
Yeah.
it fooled it just boom. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I guess that's what it is. You know, the guy from 300 yards with a double barrel, whatever, single shotgun can let off 7-8 shots. He has to cock it back, but that's fine.
And no one heard it because,
and
yeah.
you know, and the thing about the same thing with, and it's 15 years after the fact, another one. Like, I'm sorry, 9/11. Those are lots of questions coming aboard of what the narrative was.
Right.
You know, people are getting privy to it, and I think 9/11 is the one which started it, because now people are investigating. Physics professors were investigating how the heck does a building which is as 400 tons of steel get melted with just a fire.
Right.
And
jet fuel.
jet fuel.
Right.
And the funniest thing is, remember that big fire in London?
Sure.
That old
The
building?
Hotel. Yeah, the hotel.
No, the building where they just set it on fire. People lived there and stuff. It was in the Brix. That thing burned for 4 or 5 days. It was one of the oldest buildings in that neighborhood. And the structure still kept on with the fire building. And you tell me World Trade, a futuristic one built to sustain
To withstand certain
a
things.
plane strike on it, can get taken down by fire. That got the people waking up. Now this one,
Or the fact that once the whole thing burns down and unfortunately hits the ground and there's all this rubble, that they find documentation, clear documentation, fully perfect,
Yeah.
preserved, of all the people who did it, or certain people who were
there was
on the
a
plane that did
passport
it.
which just sat there.
You know,
like, come on.
You know,
Oh.
and you see those pictures, you see the fire. I mean,
How stupid can we be now?
well, it's not that we're stupid. I think
No, but
we're
I'm just
just
saying,
being
do they think
controlled
that we're
to believe
stupid?
it.
You think
Oh,
we're dumb
they totally
now?
do. Absolutely.
Now, fast forward to this Vegas shooting. Now, people are not believing this.
Right.
People are not believing. It's like, yeah, right.
Well, it's hard to believe, hard to say. Like, I think there are people. There's a lot of people who do believe it. There's a lot of people who believe that this isn't true.
Who do not want to investigate a little further.
That's it.
And this is what I'm saying. Who don't want to investigate a little further because they got too much stuff on their mind too.
Well, if you have to investigate further, that means you have to take time away from other things. And when you're living a life that is controlled by money, which is controlled by the government and the banks, you don't have time. When you have debt, you don't have time to look into what is actually happening.
Till it comes after you. That's what we got to be mindful of.
Right? Until it happens to you.
And I commend the people on the alternative media who are trying to be who are putting journalistic integrity into it and trying to get down to those answers.
Right.
We have the who, what, where, but we don't have the why. Yeah. The why does not take 2 days to solve. The why can take years.
Yep.
This investigation is not open and shut case.
Hopefully
people are not gonna, and the reason why I'm talking about it, the reason why this is probably gonna be the first uploaded video on the Cadence Radio on my YouTube is because I want to talk about this. I want to talk and don't let this die. Because if you let it die, you're going to give whoever those other factions, whoever these nutcases are, another platform.
Well, you have
another platform to do it again. Yeah. Now question this. Because this motive does not stand, and people are calling it's stinky. Right. It is.
Well, you have to look at it too, right? I mean, people only will focus on the things that are in front of them. So if they're watching the mainstream media and focusing on what's on the news and what they're being told or sold to, they will only believe that. So when there was the what's it called, the hurricane in Texas, they talked about it. A couple days later, I heard nothing else. Yeah. Then there's the hurricanes going through the Caribbean and through Florida. You heard about it, and I haven't heard anything else since.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about the earthquake in Mexico, the next earthquake in Mexico, but again, you don't hear anything about it because those events are only good as to keep people's attention on things for a very short period of time. I was watching CNN yesterday, and I was flipping through channels, and they're talking about these people whose homes have been burnt in California.
Yeah.
And it just shows
how fast
you.
Was that?
And it just shows you how crazy that the news actually is and how brainwashed people actually get. Mm-hmm. So when they're interviewing this lady who probably also watches CNN on a consistent basis, they asked her what had happened and how did you feel, all these emotional questions for her to answer. And she said, well, I had gone outside, I opened my front door, or her dad had opened the front door, and the first thing he said was, the North Koreans have attacked. Not even considering that there could be a fire, not considering there's anything else going on in the neighborhood. The first thing he said was the North Koreans have attacked us. So it just shows you, if you continually watch the news and continually be brainwashed by the same message over and over and over again, your answers that you give other people will be based not on what your actual thoughts are, they're based on whatever you're continually hearing out there.
And that's the thing about it. The biggest thing now is, like, we've been programmed to repeat.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever since we're in school, we're just programmed to repeat.
Well, what's the best way to learn something? Is to repeat something over and over again until it's in your mind.
But you don't think. You shut off that section of your brain to have your analytic thinking about it.
That's it.
And the thing about it is that's your way. That's your gland, the pineal gland, right in there. It's analytical. You need to question. It's like, why am I doing this? Or what is that? It is hard because we've been put into a position where we can't question stuff as much. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be.
Well, the
and
problem
it's been put in school since grade 1, since preschool. How come I can't do that? Because you can't.
Yeah. Well, why? Stop asking why. You're in detention.
Yeah.
Go sit in the corner. You sit in the corner. You don't want to sit in the corner again. You don't want to go to detention again. You don't want to go home and get in trouble by your parents by asking a stupid question to them. You don't ask it again. You stop asking because you don't want to go back to there. You're told don't question authority.
Yeah, and we're programmed that, and the media was that voice to me. It was. When I use, it's like, why did this happen? When first the plane which got bombed. I remember the Lockerbie bomber.
Sure.
Remember, it took 15 years to investigate that bombing. and the guy finally got convicted and put to jail.
Right.
But they investigated it. They kept on doing it, and that story wasn't in the media. But the reporters or the investigators, they were still continuing to the fact. It's not like it anymore.
No,
it's just
it
like they have a
happens this
story.
quick.
They have this. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Open shut case, on to the next.
Yeah, well, that's what happened with 9/11, right? Oh, yeah, George Bush knew exactly what happened. He knew exactly all the people. It was all Arabs, that had done it for whatever reason, and that's what we're being told and sold. And I was reading this article by David Wilcock as well, and in that article, it says that, I don't know if it's speculative or if he's being honest about what is being said, but he said that even Islamic terrorist groups have taken, saying that we did it, or he's part of our group.
Yeah.
And that kind of potentially can explain all the cruises to there. Why would you take a cruise? I mean, it's very hidden. It doesn't really give you a reason to show, that an intent of going and doing something.
There's no proof though. Like honestly, that something
cruises,
happened.
you can look at cruises. You can see where he's actually going on a
Yeah.
cruise. You can see all the different ports.
But was he really in ISIS? Did he really convert to Muslim? Did he?
That
No one
stuff's
knows
hard
that.
to
But
say, well,
but the thing about it is that there's someone saying that he has no religious affiliate. His brother says no.
There's two major religions in the Philippines, and obviously he spent some time in the Philippines as well. I'm assuming he spent some time in the Philippines. There's two major religions. There's Catholics and Muslims in the Philippines. So, and if all these Islamic terrorists are Muslims, could they already be in the Philippines? This is something that I wrote about and talked about after 9/11 as well.
Or
once
maybe
it got
he wasn't
bombed, because maybe he wasn't converted
to ISIS. Maybe he was gun running for him.
Maybe he's gun running for him. Maybe he's doing
Because
something
there is
for them,
ISIS in the Philippines.
There's everywhere.
Right? But they taking the cruise and stuff like that. Maybe he's gun running for him because that's the favor.
Maybe he's passing information. Maybe he's not
Because
even gun
maybe
running. Maybe he's just passing information from one to next
Maybe
to the
the
next.
reason he's dead
Yeah.
is
Passed it the
he
wrong
wasn't put up to this, and he's like, "This is not on me." Then all of a sudden they're like, "Okay, you're out the picture. You're out of there."
Yeah.
Because if you gonna tell something, we're gonna go down with you, whoever that faction is.
Exactly.
We
Well,
don't
if it ends up being the government or whatnot, because
We
again,
don't.
he could be. We don't know, right? There's a lot of different things that we do
And
not
that's the
know
answer,
in
Scott.
this world.
The reason why the 9/11 story, the 9/11 story was open and shut, wasn't open and shut. The people who died in those buildings and the families, they were the ones who started asking questions. They were the ones who were like, this doesn't privy to it. It's not what you tell me. We want more answers than what you're giving us. And I'm hoping that the families who did lose loved ones in this tragedy also have a voice too, and to make their voices heard, saying that you guys are not giving us the true story to this. We need more. We need to find out what happened to our daughter, to our sons, to our mothers, to our fathers. We need to put it down for them, because they need answers too.
Well,
and hopefully the people who are doing the work, who are in Vegas, all these media guys, I hope they can get to it, and keep posting as much as you want. Keep posting with this, because don't let this die. Because I have a feeling that if we do, there is something which is going to basically come out of it, and it's not going to be good for society as a whole, really.
Right. Well, the other thing too, you got to look at, why people don't look into certain things, and this goes to me, to you, all the listeners, the viewers, everybody. Is there's only so many people that are affected by each event. You go to look at the Vegas event. Yes, there's 22,000 people.
Yeah.
But only, let's call it, about 600 people got injured, and about 60 people have passed away. So really, out of those 1,400 people, 22,000 people, 660 people were absolutely affected. The other 22,000 or so people were only minorly affected. Yes, it's psychologically. Yes, it's something that they were hurt by or saw or did. But these are the people who survived. One out of maybe all of them may look into it. It's a very small percentage of people that will ever look into something that has affected them directly. The people whose family, even with the people's family, of all the people who've passed away, even maybe one person out of all that whole sphere of influence will actually go out and do something about making a video, researching, looking at different things, questioning. Everybody else isn't. Or if they, only that one person has started. Everybody else goes to the funeral, is sad, is looking for meaning and trying to figure out why things happen, trying to square things away, put it in a box, put it away, and go back to their regular lives. No one has that time because, again, we talked about...
They don't want to remember that.
And they don't want to remember it. Why would you want to continually dwell in something that makes you sad? You want to move forward. You want to... And not be angry. So you don't worry about those things. So even when people like myself and yourself, Uma, we're on here, we're talking, we're trying to tell people, hey, you need to look into these things. These are things that we're looking into.
Maybe we're doing it for you.
Maybe we're doing it for you. But it has to be the same people that we're doing it for who are actually watching this video and watching it right to the end of the video and not just, stopping in the starting of the video. That's the big thing, right? It's really getting people to watch the whole thing because I think, we've done this talk very passionately and trying to explain to people that there are these things that are absolutely happening and you need to take the time. I don't take all the time to research all this, but I do keep an open mind as you do as well. I know you do a little bit more research on your end. You do a little bit more reading. This is something that definitely inspires you to keep looking into, and you should absolutely keep doing it. But I ask everybody who's listening and watching, leave a comment, let us know what you think and what your thoughts are on actually what is happening out there. Not just with the shooting, not just with this North Korea thing, not just with this gun control, not just with this mind control, but there's a big picture. We need to look at this big picture. It's about control. And it is about us becoming the slaves of all these government
whoever
entities
it is,
or somebody's
whatever
entity.
syndicate who's taking it. I'm not saying that it's all government. I'm not saying that it's all police who go shoot people down. I'm not saying that. But there's a certain syndicate, a certain cancer within these organizations who are supposed to help the people who don't want that to happen. Who are ready to just siphon off of you. That's what the tumor does. It siphons off of you. And it siphons off of you till you die, basically. But there is cures for tumors, just get rid of them. And hopefully with this one is just to practice discernment, keep an open mind, and also question something you're not sure about. Just don't go with the...
Dismissing it.
Dismiss it or go with the original story you were told. If it does interest you a lot, delve into it. And that's basically, I'm talking about, if you love basketball and stuff, you can't play it. It's the same exact thing. You want to delve into it and you want to explore it, do it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
all we have. The most powerfulest thing we have right now is between our ears, man.
Well, we have access to pretty much anything available to us. You have access to books in school, books in the libraries, books in the bookstores. You have access to the internet. You have access to any website you want to go to on the internet, regular web or dark web, realistically. Again, I don't even know how to access this dark web. But my whole point is you have access to all the knowledge you want, including media, mainstream media. You have your Twitter, social, all that. You have other stuff as well. You have access to all the different people out there as well on all these different social medias as well as their websites. So take interest and look into things other than just sitting in front of a TV and mindlessly wasting your time away, or sitting in traffic and mindlessly just listening to music or whatnot all day long. Go out there and really educate yourself with what is really happening out there in the world.
Even if you listen to music too, listen to those messages too, because there's a lot of things. I've been researching a lot of music, and there's a lot of
stuff in there.
A lot of hidden symbolism into what lyrics are really being put out there, and it will surprise you. And I know there's a lot of people. Yeah, you can listen to it, and that's the thing about it. There's lots of frequencies put into all this music, which gets to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's also one thing. But like I said, like what Mavin's saying, it's like put in your time somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time, because you think you have an abundance amount of it, but putting your time to what you're passionate about, and just don't don't be a leper, man. Just
Yeah.
don't be a leper.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important just to go out, discover what is the right things for you to know. I think you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, your friends, to everybody, to figure these things out and really help change the society we live in right now. There are over 7.5 billion people on this earth,
Exactly.
and it doesn't just happen in the United States. It happens everywhere in the world. Unfortunately, with the North America, we don't get to see all the news in the world,
Yeah.
and nor could you really consume all of the news all around the world from every country, nor do you want to.
And imagine the people without this platform.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine without any media and what's going on and stuff. What's really happening down there without them having a voice heard.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Absolutely, man. Any
All
other
right.
final words, man?
No, that's everything, man.
Awesome.
I got it up. So we're going to post this. It's be the first one. Can't wait.
Awesome.
And thanks for my guest, Maveen. DiscoverYourLifeToday.com. And we're going to be doing this for a while.
Absolutely, man.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you.